that you use, and through that, some people will fall along the way to enable you get. Someone said about the best of best. All of us know you want to get a professional police officer. You want to get a professional immigration officer. You just don't want any person who will go in. I mean, I'm sorry to say this. We are having a challenge with people with mental issues in the service. You have people with drug issues in the service. All these things are things that you use, and through that, some people will fall along the way to enable you get. Someone said about the best of best. All of us know you want to get a professional police officer. You want to get a professional immigration officer. You just don't want any person who will go in. I mean, I'm sorry to say this. We are having a challenge with people with mental issues in the service. You have people with drug issues in the service. All these things are things that you use, and through that, some people will fall along the way to.
Government is broke, government is broke. But people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money, official money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining the show. This is Good Morning Ghana on the Metro Television. Today is the 12th of March, 2026, and this is the day the Lord has made. Indeed, we're glad in it. I want to say big thanks to the Almighty God for making it possible for us to return here to join the nation's conversation on the big, massive issues that are making the rounds in our dear country, Ghana. My name is Audu Moro, and it's always a pleasure to come your way. And I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Let me go straight ahead and look at what the news episode reports in this morning. So daily graphic is what I would always start with typically. Government revises public land sales structure. That's at the front page of today's daily graphic. There's also Ghana chair. Others meet King Charles at Commonwealth Day in London. As government revises public land sales structure, REITs can unlock diaspora pension fund capital, according to SEC, that's the Securities and Exchange Commission. Oil price spikes from Iran conflict remove taxes on fuel to cushion consumers, according to analysts. The Ghanaian Times says the Lands Ministry begins national digitalization of public lands, set to publish names of beneficiaries. Ghana-Korea signs 3 pacts. 1,000 women died during childbirth last year, and there's Wager irrigation project under siege as estate developers encroach farmlands. Daily Guide says Mahama pushes for visa waiver with South Korea. Minority quizzes government over U.S. air strikes from Ghana. 2 Ghanaians injured in Dubai drone attack, and there's also over 5,000 or 5,000 youth apply for security jobs. The Insight. Government unveils sweeping reforms to strengthen public lands administration. SNET assets under management rise 25% to 25 billion cedis. NPA assures public of adequate fuel stocks amid the Middle East crisis and global market concerns. Empowering women is a strategic investment in better governance, V. Popokwajimai. And as MCE appeals to GWC to publish clear water service delivery timetable to ease water crisis in Bon Katamanso. Donald Trump, like Adolf Hitler, walks on both legs, according to Owe Lakemfa. Right. From Shepherd Boy to Paramount Chief, the rise of Nab Azintilo. Daily Post this morning reports that Iran tells world to get ready for oil at $200 a barrel as it fires on merchant ships. Wow. Ghana, South Korea signs 3 MOUs on maritime security, climate change, and digital technology. Government introduces sweeping reforms to strengthen transparency in public land administration. And then you also have the Anyako Konu Seva gets access to water after 20 years as sector minister commissions newly built water treatment plant. And as that's with Daily Post for today. Now the Daily Searchlight says minority demands answers over USA bombing runs in Nigeria. There's also the Ghana condemns drone attack near Dubai International Airport as 2 nationals injured. Thousands of youths keep security support interviews as Interior Minister raises serious concerns. And there's also issue of constitutional breach as Ablakwa confesses in London. Minority demands answers over USA bombing runs in Nigeria. I had to take that story again because I left something out. The Business and Financial Times this morning says that Shippers Authority steps in as war risk surcharges hit local businesses. Tor defends ability to refine local crude, outlines plans to expand domestic processing. Desmida moves to transform Volta Corridor into agro-industrial powerhouse. Government demands 70% upfront payment for public land leases. And there's also 1 year in, what nobody tells you about leading a public institution. And it's a very interesting article by Jifa Gunu, who is the boss at Accra Digital Center. You may want to grab the Business and Financial Times today and read that article. It's a very interesting one. He says, 1 year on or 1 year in, what nobody tells you about leading a public institution. Quite interesting. There's also a feature on the Momo Paradox. As you may want to check that out. But the Stanbic Bank, IFC, and MasterCard collaborate to expand access to finance for female-owned SMEs. That's on the front page of the newspaper. So what's online? Let me go online and check out what the online portals are reporting this morning. So I'll start with my Joe Online that says loan moratorium for industry could tackle youth unemployment, according to security expert. Mohammed and his South Korean counterpart hold bilateral talks. There's Ishmael Norman hails Interior Minister for choosing merit over politics in security recruitment. Ghana Web this morning is reporting that it says the Ghana Web fact check did Ablakwa say US used Ghana as base in Nigeria airstrike as Jinapo claims. Obviously, he didn't say that. I watched that video. There's a Daddy Lumbe's family removes Ebusia Penyin Kofi Owusu as family head. And as Education Minister could face accusations of misprision over Ajwa Safo's in-poster. Let me go to the City Newsroom. Right? So City Newsroom this morning says slash fuel taxes if oil price rise. That Peter quoted to government. Clock sack leadership boycott NLC meeting. Let's promote agriculture to tackle youth job crisis. Nunu Mensa to government. And Kabiru says minority support probe if audit findings are verified. Now your favorite, my favorite, and our favorite, Metro TV Online says that Chamber of Mines wants higher gold royalties could hurt investment. There's also Man City, Chelsea, humiliated by Real Madrid and PSG. I was very sad yesterday, wasn't I? 5-2. That's terribly humiliating. It was a terrible performance yesterday by Chelsea, but I blame the coach. You know, he just lacks experience. You know, he's got the attitude, but he's just lacked experience. Anyway, we'll talk about that some other time. There's also 2026 FIFA World Cup. John Pintel backing Ghana to beat England. There's woman 29 dies after alleged poisoning husband accused in child's account. There's a UDS lecturer petitions GTech board over unlawful demotion. The Chamber of Mines is also warning higher gold royalties could actually hurt investment. I'm still on Metro TV Online because, yes, it's ours. I'll spend some time on it. Please don't blame me for that. And then there's also 2026. Yes, he's back in Ghana to beat England. It's also here on the Metro TV Online. There's Imani Boss is defending Ato Boateng, demands apology from Asefwa over cocoa board claims. All right, so that's it for the newspaper and the online portal review. Please stay with us. This is Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My guests are seated. I'll be letting you in on who they are shortly.
Me fake it force mono budget me she way song incamination will a bank mommy no come on me small did me small was some mommy no hammy me shada mommy no hammy me shada did me small did me small but some mommy no hammy me shada me small did me small but some mommy no hammy me shada. Wale mommy kemi pala hami me shata dedo bani mi suma but some mommy no hami me shata dedo bani mi suma but some mommy ka wo mi ara ho kwala me fake it force mono budget me she way song incamination will a bank mommy no come on me small did me small but some mommy no hammy me shada mommy no hammy me shada did me small did me small but some mommy no hammy me shada me small did me small but some mommy no hammy me shada. Wale mommy kemi pala hami me shata dedo
I'm sure you're enjoying the tunes, weren't you? Yeah, it's a lovely tune, lovely tune, lovely tune. Sikaya Moja. Who actually sang this song? It's escaped me. Is it Pat Thomas? I believe so. I think it's Pat Thomas. Right, remind me who sang Sikaya Moja. It's a beautiful track. It's a beautiful track. Anyway, so my guests are seated now and would kickstart with our conversation. So this morning we have a new member of the team. I'm not sure she's been here before, but actually, she can correct me on that, but it's actually her first time on the show. That's Nache Ni Okwe.
Well, so it's not my first time on the show.
It's not my first time?
No. I've been here with Annie a couple of times.
Oh, a couple of times.
Yeah,
okay.
so maybe I should be welcoming you to the team.
Thank you. Obake.
Fatai. Yes.
So that's Na Ache Ne.
Ni
Okwe. Oh, that's why you said I should
yes,
Ni Okwe. But it's spelled N-E-E, right?
Just saying you so that my father doesn't come to meet you. So it is not Ni Okwe.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Na Ache Ni Okwe. Okay. A member of the NDC's communications team. Thank you very much for joining us.
I'm happy to be here.
It's always a pleasure to have you join us on the show. And also, this gentleman, he's been here before. And except that he hasn't been here in a while. I'm sure that other engagements took him away. But he's made time to join us this morning. Dr. Ezekiel Ajimaing Obeng. He's Ejekum, sorry. Dr. Ezekiel Ejekum Obeng. He's a member of the MPP's communications team as well. So also a medical practitioner. Gentlemen, Big Boss, how are you?
Tomorrow.
Good morning.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it is. It has been. I hope you're doing well.
You. And good morning to Nina.
All right.
She's Nina at the same time.
Is it Nani?
Nani.
No, Nina.
Well, just say nah, ignore the
yeah.
nah is fine.
To make it easier for you.
For all of us, yeah.
To make it easier for you.
Sure.
Right. Are you still into medical practice?
I am, but
okay.
I took some time off to do some course.
Okay.
So I'm currently doing the course I'll return
Is it
soon.
a master's? Is it a PhD?
Specialty,
Oh, you're specializing in an area.
yeah,
How long is that supposed to take?
2 years
2 years. Within or without?
within,
Within.
yeah.
I see. Why didn't you pursue something abroad?
I believe in the ability and the capacity of our leaders in the medical field. Ghana can boast of the best brains when it comes to medicine and medical practice. And if you go out, a litany of Ghanaian doctors who are making it big, even including my classmates who we track from time to time, doing a great job. And if you've had opportunity to sit before any of our consultants and leaders through medical school, through the infantile stage of our practice, you would appreciate the kind of brains we have. Except our field is not boastful. Our field is not the type that would advertise ourselves. Because I remember when I was in school, we were even taught that to even have your own private practice or have a clinic, there is a certain level to which even your billboards or advertising boards, should be. It shouldn't go beyond certain dimensions. So usually doctors and people in the medical field are not those that would project themselves out there. And it's the reason why we have a lot of brains, fine brains, beautiful brains for that matter, but we hardly hear of them. It comes with a job. So I believe that with this pool of expertise, the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons has a lot of mentors and consultants to train, medical professionals. And if you go there to any of our training institutions, you'd realize a lot of people from our neighboring countries rather coming in during medical exchange programs, those that come from the West to, have a feel of our setting here, can really attest to what we have as a country. So yes, I believe in the local content and local competence of our forebearers.
So the point is that there is enough quality home.
We have a lot, even more than a lot. We have one of the best brains when it comes to medical practice in the sub-region. We should go beyond our local setting to even put Ghana on the stage for medical tourism. I believe that should be the next phase of our health practice. Of course, we shouldn't lose sight of the gaps in the implementation of the various policies, locally. However, with the brains we have and the path, the trajectory we are on as a country in the health sector, I believe we should open up the more, to attract others. Go to Kolebu, and you see a lot of people from other countries. As at the time I was doing my housemanship in Kolebu, I think a country like Nigeria even didn't have a cardiothoracic center sort of properly. I stand to be corrected. I'm training doctors to become cardiothoracic surgeons. But we have a brain from Professor Frimpong to the rest of the team who have taken over the cardiothoracic center, for example. We had other neighboring African countries coming to get their education here. So yes, we have a pool of beautiful brains who at any point in time are capable once they have the right tools and environment to work.
Is there any added advantage? And now I'll pick your thoughts on this as well, because I'm sure that I have the suspicion that you may have also tasted, education abroad, and so I'll pick your thoughts on this. But is there anything special that one gets, any advantage that one gets when they school abroad, for which reason, even if a course can be taught home, there are some people who prefer to pursue those programs, whether undergrad or postgrad, abroad?
Once there are levels to everything, obviously, as a developing country, you can't compare yourself in terms of equipment, in terms of machinery, in terms of structures to developed countries. So yes, if you school in the UK, for example, or in America or Canada, your certificate, so to speak, it's mostly widely accepted compared to what sadly you would get from the country. And some of the courses that are emerging, for example, may not necessarily find expression in our educational curriculum over here. So people would ordinarily go to certain countries to pursue those courses. And those schools that people tend to pursue have stood the test of time. I mean, people go to Ivy League schools, and if they come out, I mean, obviously, the bargaining chip and the bragging rights is there for everyone, and the quality they produced over the years. So yes, I would be humble when it comes to the comparison, except to say that we also need to push. I mean, we have nice schools here, we have very good schools here, who, when you check yearly ratings in the sub-region, are not doing badly at all. We need to keep up with what we are doing right. We need to identify gaps and address those gaps. And we need to keep on emerging as an education or a country fighting to become one of the best destinations for education. And over the years, at least from our days from Legon till now, we can see what the University of Ghana, for example, is doing to attract other people to pursue certain courses here. The other side has to do with certain courses that perhaps can be territorial to attract others, because in our sub-region, in our culture, and the way we do our things, there are things that we can come up with, draw a better educational plan to influence others to come and seek certain educational path here. If you watch CNN with the American Israel-Iranian war, for example, the experts that are interviewed on CNN, I was baffled it was interesting, I mean, to note that there's actually a professor in one of the top schools in the US who has specialized in Iranian scholarly, for example. So what are we also doing to teach the African terrain, the African value? Is there a course like that? Yes, because even in the developed countries, there is someone who has specialized in issues pertaining to Iran, and the person is a lecturer in the top university in the US. Do we have authority over African culture, African history, Ghanaian culture, Ghanaian history, Ghanaian politics being taught properly as a specialized course in our universities, where people would want to come and learn about Africa and Ghana? So we need to look at those areas and see the potentials that exist for us to take advantage and advertise to the world to at least come and see what we have in stock as Ghana and as Africa.
Well, I mean, look, a fantastic submission, I must admit, but here's the challenge. There are employers who, for some reason, tend to give some kind of a preferential attention or a preferential, treatment to persons who study abroad. Okay, so you went to study marketing, say at Roehampton University or London School of Economics or Harvard or Cambridge or Oxford, etc. That person's document would be preferable for some employers as compared to, say, somebody who studied in University of Ghana, Legon, and did a master's there, or KNUST or UEW or any of those traditionally, or even some of these contemporary ones that have come up, or Central University, etc., etc. Don't you think that rationally, if I want to be more attractive within the job market, and I can afford, I prefer to go out there and gain some, and I'll prefer to go out there and pursue my education and come back home and say, well, me to have been there some employment.
There's a reason why Harvard is Harvard, for example. There's a reason why Oxford is Oxford. I mean, they've been there for decades.
Right.
I mean, over 100 years plus.
But so is the University of Ghana, Legon. It's been there for decades.
But in a developed world,
yes,
your colonial masters, those that came to introduce formal education to you, it will take some time to catch up with them, at least on the surface value.
Okay.
It will take some time to catch up with them. The structures they have, do you have same structures? Right? If I had opportunity to go to an Ivy League school for any program at all that I deem helpful, I would take the advantage. And there's a reason why we have global ranking of schools to determine your choice and your program choices. There is no way I would sit to say that I attended the University of Ghana, and to me, the best university. But in making the argument, it will be very difficult in my senses and conscience to say that University of Ghana stands above, let's say, Harvard University, right? And like I said, because the developed world is acceptable to rank and file everyone in the world, having a qualification from those countries makes it easier. But the truth of the matter is the practicality of the knowledge you acquire on the job. My mom took ill, and I took her to the hospital. And I'm not saying it in any malicious way. The person who was attending to my mom found some difficulty to set a line for my mother. So one of the junior doctors there, I was still a medical student, I approached her and I was like, yo, I can tell your colleague is struggling. Can you step in? Then she stepped in, and within a minute, she got it. Then I asked what could be the issue. And the reason was that, the person did not train here. For example, the kind of and the practical experience we get, for example, with our medical education. Sorry to say, you can school elsewhere, you won't get such practical experience. The patients are there, the documents are there for your reading and consumption. The patients are there open to speak to you. Racial discrimination and all that comes in play when Ghanaian students go out there to pursue medical education. Hardly do they get the opportunity to at least explore and have some form of practical sessions with patients, live patients. So they do a lot of simulation exercises. But when you compare the Ghanaian doctor who has been through our system, you can clearly see the difference. So we are not doing badly. We are not doing badly at all. That's why I said that we need to review our system, identify gaps. We shouldn't be under pressure to catch up necessarily with certain schools. It took time. It took processes for them to get there. But if we should take our time, identify the gaps and work on the gaps and make sure that the products we churn out fit directly and effectively on the job market, I believe it's a matter of time. Our products will speak for our schools and our names will be out there. Ghanaian doctors, once again, are doing marvelously well in the United States, the United Kingdom, and other areas. And I believe they are the ones telling the story of the Ghanaian educational system out there. So that's how it starts, and with time, we can catch up. But as it stands, of course, a certificate from my village university compared to a certificate from Harvard or Oxford, every employer, at least because of the track record of Harvard and Oxford, will choose it ahead of the certificate I have from my village university, for example.
But, you know, you're talking ideal situation, but that's the reality confronting us, is that employers tend to have a soft spot for persons who have gained some kind of educational experience outside Ghana for whatever reason. And of course, you have said that Cambridge is Cambridge is Cambridge, Oxford is Oxford, Columbia University is Columbia University, Warwick University is Warwick University. I can give you a tall list of some of these, you know, what we call elite schools. Anyway, so but see, so that then dovetails into back home. what we're doing. And this is actually not part of the topics we had planned to do today based on what the newspapers are, because the newspaper review program, but it's a very important one, you know, because it appears that there's a shift in policy, and perhaps let me bring it out here because I've been talking to you for a while. Now, let me pick your general thoughts on this matter of schooling here in Ghana and schooling abroad, and you know what appears to be a preference by a lot of employers. I'm going to say all of them. A lot of employers for persons who have schooled abroad as against those who have schooled here in Ghana. I mean, what are your own perspectives that you want to share on this matter before we even look at locally what the government is doing in tackling that problem?
I think that it's just sort of prestige that employers attach to people who have schooled abroad. You know, I'm not a believer in, if you could get access to that program or that course here in the country, why travel? Especially when many of our people, you know, elect to these programs through scholarships. And so it has become so burdensome that scholarships in the country have actually been, you know, duplicated. And so one person would apply to get funds for a scholarship, another person would apply here and apply there and apply there. I think that what employers can actually do is try to merge the Ghanaian academia with industry. If we sit and then both are so detached in our thinking that, well, the lecture halls are just churning out people coming out wearing gowns, not able to solve very practical, you know, corporate space issues, when we can actually take the initiative for that measure, right, rather than say that, let's go outside. I think also that my experience with faculty members outside of the country is that the faculty member to student ratio is a bit reasonable.
Right.
And so faculty or academia here in the country is a bit overwhelmed. You go into our lecture theaters and you have some students standing, you know, literally listening to the lecturer and making notes. When maybe we could adopt hybrid systems, so from the comfort of people's homes, can they still access education? Because, you know, for all you know, people are actually schooling outside, but are here in the country.
Right.
I mean, the schools are outside. They do the hybrid system. They go, if it's once every semester, they go, they meet their supervisor, but lectures, other presentation are all done online. Can we actually, even if you want to apply ourselves to external tuition, can we apply ourselves to this hybrid kind of, you know, tuition? But I think for many people who also travel outside the country, it is not purely academic. It is academic in the fact that, well, I will school there and see if that economy can absorb me. It boils down to the fact that, well, people say that you can't find jobs in Ghana, and that's the reality. And so people will school outside trying to say that I'm killing two birds, for example, with one stone. But if you're able to create more opportunities for academia to merge with industry, if you're able to create more opportunities for people to actually have tuition from the comfort of their homes, I think that it will solve many of the problems. Even if employers say that we want students who schooled in, you know, the Ivy League schools and what have you, from the comfort of our homes in Ghana, we get a tuition. Now, bear in mind that sometimes people who even don't get scholarship, they are squeezing water out of stone to be able to exit the shores of Ghana, get prestigious education, for lack of a better expression, and then they will come back and it's like, well, I did all this for what? And so really, let's, even if it means more for me, taking a look again at our programs that we run, do they even meet the needs of industry? Let's speak to the industry captains. What are the programs they want us to add? Which programs would they want a review? Right. And then they will say that, well, these are the new career paths people are actually chartering. You could look at that for academia, but people still go to, and you know, simply, someone will tell you that, well, all I need is a degree. But I'm not a believer of the fact that all you need is a degree. You may go, you meet people, but intellectually, now you come out, you've read a program that the system cannot absorb you, or sometimes, not always the fact that there are no jobs. Right. Sometimes more of the jobs actually exist. But now you present your certificates, and then the needs of that vacancy to be filled are actually far from what you have studied. And so maybe let's do more coaching for students. Let's encourage students to take up courses that industry needs. With that, there's really an exit plan from the classroom to industry. But industry captains are looking for people to employ, agencies need vacancies to be filled. And the problem with that is that because you think that, well, people need jobs, unemployment, we have to employ people very often. There is a tendency that you absorb people who may not have the requisite qualification simply because you need to absorb. Yeah. So let's take a look again at academia. Let's take a look again at industry. Let's merge the two. Let's iron out some fine lines so that at least when people come out of school, industry is able to absorb them, even if not immediately, in the shortest term, so that people are not, you know, out of school 5 years, 10 years, and can't find anything, you know, to do. Then again, maybe I would say that the lecture hall should not be purely the books. Maybe some entrepreneurial skills in the lecture hall would also help. So I had my first degree at the University of Cape Coast. I had my second degree at the University of Ghana. I'm back to University of Ghana again. Now this is what
you haven't studied abroad?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. I have experience with them based on my supervisor at the University of Ghana.
Okay.
Because she does a lot of things, does publishing works with other faculty members abroad. Right. So, I mean, you engage them in, you know, other sessions. So what I'm saying is that, can we get these students to also learn some entrepreneurial skills? This is what I exited the University of Ghana with. By the time I was exiting, I mean, I was a research assistant on my own. I could help people with their research for a fee. Okay. But now we churn out students who, of course, the academic space is burdensome, coupled with other, you know, pressing issues that students may have to attend to. So very often people would actually let their project work for people to do. But here's the thing. Can we apply ourselves really to the research? And so I came out having to proofread people's work. In fact, I'll do the research for you. I'll guide you through it, but I'll take my token from you. And so these are skills that you learn from the classroom, but once you exit, and whilst I was waiting to get a job, I was applying and I was earning. And so we should take a look at academics, industry, entrepreneurship, and all these things. And I'm sure that we would head for a better place.
I see. So you've never studied abroad before, but you don't feel inadequate in any way as compared to somebody who studied abroad. You don't feel less competitive.
No. So you see, in fact, my friends who studied abroad, or the faculty members through my supervisor engage abroad, maybe let me say no difference. Okay. It is because, you see, it doesn't matter whether you're Ghanaian, Nigerian, what have you. Apply yourself to the rigorousness of the lecture hall. Apply yourself to the rigorousness of academia and what it comes with. Right. And so by the time you are graduating, you are not just like any other of the graduates. Because if we churn out 10,000 graduates a year, for example, I think that if you distinguish yourself, I mean, industry will come for you. And so in as much as you are 10,000 in the lecture hall, you are standing, making your notes, when it gets to time of being employed, the employer is not bothered whether you stood to write, whether you sat to write, whether you attended lecture every day. For them, if they put you to the task, can you perform? So what I'm urging students, I mean, wherever we find ourselves, whether first degree, second degree, professional courses, is that apply yourselves. I mean, don't just go through the school. Like my former vice chancellor would say, let the school also go through you. Be refined. And so when you come out of school, it's not, I don't want to use the word easier, but maybe within reasonable time, you'll get industry to actually absorb you.
Doc, let me raise these 4 advantages as I have come to read, or I've come to find out. I've come to learn about some of the advantages of schooling abroad. I'm not by this saying that you must at all costs study abroad. That's not the point I'm making. But I'm saying that there's also a strong argument for doing that. And let me run some of that with you. So, for instance, there's a talk about the fact that, when you live in a foreign country, it increases your self-confidence, your adaptability, and also your independence. That's one. There's also the talk about the fact that, you get to learn new languages, you get to meet people from around the world, you build a global network, etc. And you look at the fact that the world is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller as because of globalization. Now, of course, some would also say that there's a point to be made about, opportunity to experience different cultures, cuisines, and to travel, and so on and so forth. And of course, there's also the talk about the fact that when you attend some of these top-ranked institutions, you have a better employment prospect and also international career opportunities. Do these four advantages that I've enumerated sit well with you? It's
basically about 90% reasons why people would choose to school outside.
But you wouldn't get that if you did that in Ghana.
How do you learn Chinese if you are schooling in my village?
Right.
How would you get to speak Spanish if you don't take an extra course, or you are not originally pursuing Spanish at the university? How would you get to learn Spanish? And we all know that the number of languages you speak, can also help you with your job prospects. If there's a multinational company looking for someone to employ, and all I speak is my Twi and English, and now has an advantage of Chinese or Spanish, clearly, as a multinational company, that will be an added advantage to now. She's had opportunity to school outside, experience different cultures, blend in, adapted to how life is and culture there. That same company will choose now over me, because all that I have is how to at least play around with my people. So obviously, it's not just because of Ghana and people choosing other countries ahead of Ghana. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It can be Nigeria, it can be everywhere. Even in the West, in the advanced countries. If someone has worked or has schooled in Africa before, and once again, a multinational institution is looking for someone to work in the sub-Saharan Africa, will they go for the person who has had some experience in Africa and knows the terrain, knows our food, knows our culture, the way of our people, or someone who strictly has even attended Harvard but knows nothing about Africa?
Right.
So it's not pertained to Ghana alone. It's a global phenomenon. The more you travel, the more you tend to learn new things.
Right.
The way we do things here is totally different. I traveled and I made about 6-hour journey by bus, and not at any point did the driver, horned throughout the journey. And I was like, is this driver, is everything okay? Or he's sleeping behind the steering? About a 6-hour journey. Not once. Right? So then I ask myself, why so much noise on our street from car horns alone? So yes, traveling alone exposes you to a lot of things. It gives you the opportunity to learn new things. It gives you the opportunity to learn, relearn, and unlearn, and adapt properly. Now I spoke about job prospects. It is the case. Once a Ghanaian is out there schooling, he or she is looking for an opportunity to extend his or her stay, to get a job. So how much job opportunities do we have as a country? Right? There are a lot of people who pursue certain courses, even in this country, because of the job availability. Not necessarily because that's what they want to do.
Right.
So you speak to certain people, why did you do this? Because we are many juma.
That's true.
So people are not necessarily even following what they are passionate about.
Yeah.
But elsewhere, because opportunities abound, you can choose any career path you are passionate about, pursue it, and you'd have something doing for yourself.
That's true. Because the infrastructure is there.
Infrastructure is there.
Yeah.
Things are well laid down. And like Na said, industry understands, and academia also are in sync with industry, and they know where to channel the educational path. Okay. Quite often, what becomes of NSS personnel?
Yeah.
We hear the stories. They are there to be buying lunch and breakfast. I can bet you, without any scientific proof, there's an NSS personnel today who I'm sure is going to buy cocoa for the boss.
Yeah.
And by 12:30, is going to buy some check for the boss. But if you are on the job, and that is not your preoccupation, but you are really doing something meaningful, trust me, industry will not let you go.
Yeah.
I visited an oil company about 2 weeks ago who has had some financial difficulties.
Yeah.
And I asked the person I went to see, so what becomes of the dozens of NSS personnel who, for the possibility of job prospects, at least chose your company to come and work here or do their service? He said, well, unfortunately, they will have to go back. However, if you come and you excel, the company will retain you.
I get it.
So yes, there are a lot of opportunities out there, and we can't discount those opportunities. And life alone is more structured, at least out there, compared to our setting. However, I still believe in Ghana. We believe in our local content, and we believe when we do the right things, we can also get there one day. It will not come easy, but we shall get there.
I want you to be brief on this, because I want us to move to issues about jobs, because it ties in, doesn't it? You train people because you want them to be employable. Your government has introduced a new bill, and the bill is seeking to fix what appears to be in a case of inefficiency. Because if you can do the course here, why do it abroad? What do you know about this bill? What is it seeking to achieve?
So, Moro, we all admit at this table that when we say scholarships, they are actually, in all true intent, meant for brilliant but needy, persons. We've had instances in this country where politicians deem themselves as needy when indeed they were not needy, and applied, to benefit from one scholarship or the other. And so for us as a government, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to cut down on foreign scholarships, albeit when there is the need for a particular skill that cannot, be acquired in this country, which of course I doubt, then there is room that in a special case of Moro, because we need this skill A, B, and C for Moro to develop, and the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology cannot offer, the University of Ghana cannot offer, Central University cannot offer, all the technical universities cannot offer. It is an exceptional case for Moro to travel outside. That aside, all the bill that was presented to Parliament sought to do was that it sought to mainstream all the scholarships into one. So we have a scholarship authority. All scholarships, whether it is from Get Fund, whether it is from GMPC, whether it is from, are actually administered so that I seated here, I am not needy, I don't even go for it. So that a dog sitting here, even if there is a need for him to go for it, does not go for it again and again. Now, once an individual...
He doesn't qualify because he's rich. Yeah. He doesn't qualify. He knows that.
Once an individual goes for the scholarship once, twice, you are depriving another person the opportunity to actually, benefit from it. What the bill also sought to do was that once we focus on what we say local content, it would inure to us actually improving the quality of what we have in country. Because bear in mind, once we know that, well, if I want to read any, let's say medicine, and the quality of the medicinal training or the medical training given at the University of Ghana is not of high standards, why not? I'll travel outside the country. But once we cut down on the excess traveling, the excess scholarship, or scholarships that people benefit when it is actually not intended for them, and people know when they benefit from scholarships and it is not intended for them, but they'll benefit all the same. And so for us, we want to redirect our attention that all these, funds that we actually push out of the country to actually pay the supposed better schools can go into improving our own, educational system here. And so what we believe in is that beyond improvement, the right people will benefit from the scholarship, so that we know that person A needs this skill, goes out of the country and comes back to serve a particular purpose. Because of course there is a vacuum created, let's say for doctors with a certain specialty. You were asking Ezekiel why, he's reading his course, and he said that because of course we have it here. And so I don't think that it will be prudent when we have all the, academic resource here to develop that specialty in Ezekiel, for us to give him scholarship for the monies to leave the shores of the country. And so when we are streamlining scholarships, all scholarships into one or at one authority, the second thing is that so that those that the scholarships are intended for will be those that will benefit. And then it would actually push us as a nation to actually invest in our own educational system. Because of course, you know that you must get the education from here and not outside the country. And so then we will be pressed, rather than churn the money outside, to improve our educational lots in this country.
All right, so gentlemen, I guess that we'd have to move on, and because our next topic actually ties in, doesn't it? It ties in with education, because we educate people so that we can make them employable. We can educate them, want to give them job skills so they can get some jobs on the market to do. Now let me continue with her, because this one is called Home Affairs. Yes. Now, have you been following the complaints and the agitations, and in some cases angst that has been expressed by your party supporters who feel that they were in the trenches with you? They've worked so hard to bring the party to power in 8 years. Some of them had nothing to do. They've been able to work hard to bring your party to power, and yet they are calling people. Appointees are not picking their calls. Appointees are not making time to meet them, to listen to their concerns. They can't pay their school fees, they can't pay their medical bills, etc., etc., talking about the socioeconomic difficulties that they're facing. Then you decide to rub it in and make their case worse by sponsoring an event of somebody they see as an arch enemy, because the organizers of this event, or the key organizer of this event, is somebody who did not wish the NDC well, as some of these foot soldiers have said, or some of these party supporters have said. And so if you don't give me a job, you won't pick my calls, you won't attend to me, that's bad enough. But to be seen to be sponsoring an event of somebody who really was wishing and was wishing doom for a party, it's like saying you don't care about our feelings, you don't care about our sensibilities, you've gotten what you want to get, and so you don't care about us. Now, now closely related to this is also the issue of recruiting people into the security services. And they say, okay, you've done something we don't like, we are already angry. Okay, now there's an opening somewhere. We want to go and apply and see whether we can get a job to, say, immigration, police, NACOC, and some other, security-related jobs. That one too, we have applied. we don't care whether we are qualified or not qualified. We were under the impression that once we're NDC, once we apply, automatically we must get a job. You know, whether I'm a class 6 guy, whether I'm a JSS, whatever, I must get a job. Because that was the impression that we got when we were in opposition, whether you have a certificate or not. Now we're hearing the Interior Minister saying that, well, apparently you need documentation. You have to do body checks. You have to do an aptitude test. And then after the aptitude test, you now have to do medical checks. And then after which, you know, you can get a job. So some of them are saying that they feel betrayed. You know, so why didn't you, is it that you failed to share with your party supporters what was contained in your own party's manifesto? Because it's quite there. What you intend to do going forward with the security services. Put all of this in perspective for me.
Well, your question is not double barreled. It is 1,000 barreled. And so
it's about the rank and file.
I would attempt to address,
yes.
I mean, very...
Do they call you sometimes? Do they call you for help?
I'll get there.
Okay.
So you started by saying that, have I monitored, the rants from party faithfuls, from the general public who may not even be party faithfuls or not having jobs to do? I don't just monitor. I get the text.
Oh, really?
I get the calls.
Hey.
I read, of course, I'm a member of the NDC. No, I mean, I'm a member of the NDC. Okay. So maybe I might personally not have done anything. But the fact that somebody sees you as closer to power, for you to be able to improve their lot, why not? They'll reach out to you. And so it's fair if they reach out. As many people who reach out, I mean, I try to, do the best within my power. But I've also encountered people who have said that I have found a job under this current administration. Okay. So it is not all doom-spelled that people are not finding jobs. Of course, some have found jobs. I can testify of my own place where I work. I mean, many recruitments. I can mention many chief executives who are doing other things, maybe beyond, giving you an offer letter to make sure that you are economically empowered. And let me also remind all of us that it's okay to say that a job is when you have an offer letter, you leave home at 8 a.m., you return at 5, at the end of the month, you get a paycheck, you have a paymaster, it's okay like that. But also for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, when he spoke to the teeming Ghanaian youth, the NDC base, at the 69th Independence Day celebration, he said something very profound. The president says that, dear Ghanaian youth, I see you, I hear you, I believe in your potential, albeit recognizing the frustrations that you are going through. So the government, the party, is not detached from the reality of people wanting jobs. Because why? Having a job, moral, and earning a living is basic to survival. And so if you don't have a job, if you're not earning, how then do you survive? But before I come to the jobs, let me quickly implore, appointees of this government. Even if you are not an appointee of this government, but you are a member of the party that has formed this government, sometimes it is difficult to pick the calls at the time the base may be calling, and admittedly so. Because as you sit here, there is no way you can answer a call. And so sometimes the call may come at times not so right for the appointee to answer. What we will plead with appointees is that beyond that period that you are very busy and cannot answer the call, you are very busy and cannot, reply the text message, in the shortest reasonable or convenient time that you get to breathe and cool off your head, return as many calls as you can. And for me, here is the trick that I've adopted in my own constituency, that maybe I have about 18 assembly members, And so if I see a call from somebody within a certain electoral area, and I also see a call from the assembly member, what I'll do is that I'll call the assembly member. This person called me. Is that the same reason? The assembly member may know the reason. And sometimes the assembly people are able to actually box 5, reasons why so Kofi Amaya, 5 people have called you. They're able to box everything and say, this is the reason why this particular people are actually calling you. But then you see, what we as the NDC believe is that we want to actually create more sustainable jobs so that it is not a job that you are enrolled onto. It is for 6 months, and then there is an end in sight that there is no exit strategy to sustain you. It means that we come back to the same unemployment issues. And it will be very difficult for that person who has actually tested employment, to come and test unemployment. And so what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is doing is that we are investing into job creation and skills development. And that is why you would hear that it's not just okay to say, I leave home, I bath, I go and sit in the office. It's a job, all right. But beyond that, we are looking at actually empowering people, investing into people, so that tomorrow, once I am invested into, I create an opportunity, I'm able to onboard you so that I have employed you. And so I have an idea, Moro has an idea. Can these 2 ideas be merged into one? Can they receive funding rather than give just now an offer letter and exclude Moro? And so what we are doing as a party is that we are investing. One, I'll show you. The Women Development Bank, the status of it, because it is one of the machineries that we intended to create jobs. And for us as a government, we don't want to put monies in the pockets of people. And at the end of the day of accountability, we are unable to account for the funds that we have put in the pockets of women. Because what are we saying? That the Women Development Bank is actually focusing women-led and women-owned businesses. But by the time you are giving Chair the funding, because of course we think I'm an entrepreneur, you might have actually assessed my financial literacy and then actually know that I have what it takes to manage the funds. If I don't have, I am not exempted from benefiting. I am actually trained on how to. Because also, bear in mind, Moro, many of this, your regular banking does not favor the lettered. And so the woman in the market who is selling fish does not even own a bank account, does not even have a Momo, account. So what we are trying to do is that before the funds get to these women, we are bringing them on board, letting them know this is how you manage your funds. Your personal funds that you've managed in time past, that you were making losses and taking loans, to replace, and you are all swamped up in loans, this Women Development Bank cannot be business as usual. Because what we want is that we want the women to be empowered. An empowered woman solves a lot of problems. Many people are in, very abusive, relationships, and because of economic empowerment, they don't leave. And so the focus of the bank is that empower people, but it's not just putting, monies in the pockets of people. We are not in a hurry to, just say that woman A take, woman B take. No. Beyond that, beyond what we have done, we want to be able to come back and show real figures of empowered women. And so we understand the rant of the base that it's been a year. We've not seen the Women Development Bank. But I'm sure that the base also admits that they don't want us to get to a place where you put monies in the pockets of women and these women, actually maybe misuse the monies. We don't want to get there. Now, what we're also doing with our 24-hour economy is that we're actually building integrated and sustainable, economic systems so that we are improving the private sector. And of course, the government sector where necessary. What President John Dramani Mahama has done to ensure that there are jobs created is that at the beginning of the year, he met industry players, business people. What was the strategy? So that governments and business people are actually aligned on the realities. What is the exchange rate? You have favorable business conditions. Are your businesses able to thrive? For us as a government, this is the approach to creating more sustainable jobs. Because moreover, government cannot absorb all of us. In as much as His Excellency John Dramani Mahama would be the happiest man to see that every Ghanaian youth is absorbed, it is not very realistic, is it? I don't quite think so. To absorb every Ghanaian or every unemployed Ghanaian, every NDC comrade, all into the government sector. What can we do? We partner private sector so that the jobs, are created by private sector. This morning, it is a plea to our base especially, that I don't think that in all intents and purposes, any appointee, Moro, will say that I see this call and I won't answer. The people of Ghana have given us a mandate. And so if you go to the offices right now, CEOs are working, they are meeting to deliver on the mandate the Ghanaian people have given to them. And so admittedly, and maybe unfortunately so, the time to engage calls, texts, may not be as much as it used to be. And so we just plead with the base to understand, but to also implore appointees that, look, the base put us there. And we don't want to hear agitations from the base that I call this person. And you see, when one appointee is named that, well, people call you and it's coming one too many about one appointee, you are tempted to think that it is true. Albeit you may have very, valid reasons for your actually, inability to answer the calls. But return the call, reply the text. Namoro, let me teach you something. Let me teach Javier something I have personally learned. So if you pick your phone and you text lawyer Sami Jamefi or lawyer Edudi Tameklu and you just say, hello, Mr. Edudi Tameklu, what reply would it elicit? And so we also plead that because of the limited time that appointees have to attend to many of us at the base, they would want to, when you go to Goldboard, you go and say, come to NPA, go to other places, stuck with people that appointees are actually attending to. If it's a text message, really? I'm telling you. Wow. I'm telling you. So if it's a text message, hello, my name is Nache. I am from here. I am reaching out for so and so reason. Now, when the person takes the phone, Moro, it is very easy for you to elicit, a response from the person. But when you come and greet, hello, Moro, good morning. And the person now finds time, squeezes time to just come and reply to good morning. And then you come back to ask, how are you, Honorable? You see, so by the time you are actually doing on to the next, to reply the next, and then many, messages unfortunately go, it is not an attempt to actually defend any appointee. What we are saying is that the numbers are huge and overwhelming. On all of us, we know that reality, and we align with it. What appointees can do is that create the space. Maybe one day in a week, create the space and say, I am listening to the base. A problem shared is half solved. Listen. Sometimes people even just want a place to vent. And their inability to get that place to vent, makes some of the things bottle up. And so create the time. It is hard. Work must be done. The KPIs, must be delivered on. But can we, actually make time, if it is once a week, so that we hear people? We are on a journey to creating sustainable jobs. Jobs that will put monies in the pockets of people. Jobs that are not temporary, so you are doing 6 months and you are leaving. Jobs that the teeming youth would be happy about. Jobs that will bring ease to lives and to families. But beyond the jobs, what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has done, and that distinguishes him, is that, Moro, he has ensured that all draconian, can you imagine, an unemployed graduate, for a lack of a better expression, having also been bedeviled with draconian taxes that you can't get rid of. So what he has done in the first 1 year is that let these graduates, these unemployed or even employed people actually heave a sigh of relief. So the taxes are off. COVID-19 taxes off, emission, betting and lottery winnings, they are all off. We are on a journey, Moro, beyond the offer letter, come and sit in this office to actually build the capacities of people, to actually expand also and onboard others in the job creation agenda. Okay. And I look into the camera and I tell our party faithfuls, bear with us. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama knows the situation. I'll learn quickly. On the recruitment issue, so we won't do, maybe for a lack of a better expression, will not sabotage any Ghanaian, will not cut off the dreams of any party faithful that says that I want to offer myself to serve in any of the services. The challenge, however, is that in the face of, the current dispensation we have and the current numbers, the unemployment numbers are huge. Interior Minister says we can absorb 5,000. What we intend to do as a party and as a government is that all those who applied, or President Mahama said, all those who applied, subsequently, we should draw from that pool. And so now we say that, well, first phase 5,000 people. Subsequently, if there's financial clearance, we go into that pool and then we get some more people. We would implore Ghanaians, we implore our base, that whilst we wait for these jobs, sign on to the many economic empowering programs that government has brought. We have the Jumara program, for example. I've personally witnessed some of their pitching sessions. The Ghanaian youth has ideas. We are not like, our friends on the other side who say that the head of the Ghanaian is empty. We believe, President Mahama believes in the potential of the Ghanaian. And so while the Ghanaian, and justifiably so, is waiting for an offer letter, what President Mahama is saying is that I see beyond that for you. You may even have the offer letter and do the, 8 to 5. But beyond that, is there any idea you could pitch so we fund you? Is there something within you that you could, funding could, trigger it to create an employment that is more sustainable? And so it is never intended to punish the base. We understand their frustration. Many appointees, I would urge you, give them the access. Let them vent. Okay. If there are any economic empowering, things you could do for them, right, please do it in the meantime. Thank you, Moro.
Doc, I'll bring you. Let me just do this quickly. So, just a quick reminder. It's a news-driven conversation, so I need to do this and then I can bring you in. So, Daily Guide today, at page 6, it says over 500,000 youth apply for security jobs, and the story is by Ernest Kufiedu from Parliament. It says more than 500,000 Ghanaian youth have applied to join the country's security services, which highlights the intense demand for employment opportunities among young people. The Minister for the Interior, Muntaka Mohammed, has revealed, according to the Minister, a total of 506,618 applications were received when the recruitment portal for the various security agencies closed, far exceeding the number for available positions. Now, speaking to the media in Parliament yesterday, Mr. Muntaka said the Ghanaian Police Service alone received more than 130,000 applications, despite the current strength of the service standing at about 49,000 officers from the Inspector General of Police to the lowest rank. He discloses that the Ghana Immigration Service attracted the highest number of applicants with 180,000 young people seeking to join the service, even though its present workforce is only 18,300. So, officers. Similarly, the Ghana National Fire Service received 124,000 applications, while the Ghana Prison Service recorded about 71,000 applicants. Now, despite the overwhelming interest, the Interior Minister explains that the government can recruit only 5,000 out of the 500,000. That's like almost 1%. Personnel in the first phase of the exercise due to fiscal constraints and the current economic situation. He said the limited recruitment capacity is partly linked to the nation's economic recovery program and the need to manage the public sector wage bill responsibly. As we speak, we have over 500,000 young people wanting to join the security services, yet the total number we can absorb in this phase is about 5,000. Mr. Muntaka noted that the recruitment process was deliberately structured to ensure transparency and fairness, with applicants going through stages including body election, documentation checks, aptitude tests, and medical examination. Now, he explains that aptitude test pass mark was set to 65% in order to significantly reduce the number of candidates proceeding to the medical stage. According to him, allowing all qualified applicants to undertake medical examination would impose unnecessary financial burdens on many candidates, since the medical stage involves costs such as mental health screening and drug tests. Even with the pass mark in place, he said over 105,000 applicants have still qualified to proceed to the medical stage, even though the final number of recruits will remain limited. The Interior Minister said the government plans to retain the data of applicants who successfully pass the medical examination but are not selected for the current intake, so they can be considered in future recruitment exercises. He indicates that once the nation exits its current economic recovery program and fiscal space improves, additional recruitment opportunities could be created. I'm sure that you have been in government before. You can relate to some of these problems, don't you?
Listening to now was quite interesting. And just as Dr. Otokuno took upon himself to visit the cocoa growing areas to explain to cocoa farmers that the MPP's 3,100 CD per bag was worse, and that the 2,558 or 85 is actually better than the 3,100 the MPP government were giving our cocoa farmers. I believe now can also create something for herself and perhaps do same. I believe when she speaks to the party folks, they will at least have some reassurance. I understand this is the only tangent now could have gone. But do you blame the NDC youth for anyone who did not believe in what the NDC told the Ghanaian? He or she is not disappointed. What dominated NDC's campaign in 2024 was job creation. And they created a mantra called 24-hour economy. Went ahead to give all sorts of explanations. That was the first red flag. In one breath, 24-hour economy means that President Mahama is going to make sure every region has an airport. In another breath, 24-hour economy means that waakye sellers would sell waakye at 2 a.m. In another breath, 24-hour economy means that fufu sellers will sell fufu at 3 a.m. In fact, an NDC communicator actually went on Peace FM, Naya Kesse's evening show called A Platform, and his definition was that the 24-hour economy meant that Peace FM will run 24-hour political talk show. So one set of panel members will finish, the program continues with another set. You remember the famous Pudong explanation, where an NDC communicator in Ashanti region said they are going to rear cattle, tigers, and lions and export to China, because when you go to Pudong in China, similar thing exists. And during the heat of the campaign, they even went as far as telling us that banks will operate 24 hours. In fact, there was a video advert where a gentleman was seen in the video with a lady friend who had visited him. He watched at the time and it was around 2, 3 a.m. He didn't have physical cash on him, and I believe he didn't have an e-cash as well. All he had with him was a check of 200 cedis. But because of the promise of 24-hour economy, he was able to go to the bank at 2, 3 a.m. to cash 200 cedis, gave to the friend, and she left him at the time, presupposing that our banks were even going to operate non-stop. They mounted billboards and told the NDC youth and Ghanaians that the public sector and the private sector was going to run a 3-shift system. In fact, I have a friend from Commonwealth who is in Asante Achim North or so. And I called him, Kofi, Kofi said, I was like, Kofi, I've heard a lot of explanations from your people on the 24-hour economy. What is your definition? He actually told me that during President Mohammed's first term, he went to visit a minister at the ministries. And around 11 p.m., he had not seen the minister yet. And there were a lot of people who had queued up to meet the minister. It shows that with the 24-hour economy, the ministries would operate 24 hours. And the ministers can attend to everyone, even at late or odd hours. And I asked him, does it mean you are going to employ different set of receptionists and other cadre of staff at the ministries? And he said yes. The promise the NDC gave their followers was that we've conjured a novel idea to come and solve all your unemployment issues. In fact, not just any form of employment, but sustainable, well-paid jobs. That was the promise. 2 budgets read. 2 budgets read. Is there any bank in this country operating 24 hours? Contrary to what they told us. In fact, they told the organizers that work for 24 hours and we even supply you with time of use meters, where after 8 p.m., your meters will start running at 30 space. And they even told the private sector that we're going to give you security, 1 kiosk, 1 police officer, so you could work at night. That's not what they told us. So why do you give all these fancy promises? Told us that it was the MPP that was rather insensitive and didn't know what to do. But you were bringing a tatashe medication to all our unemployment problems. You diagnosed the situation and you proffered long-lasting solution to our problems. The reality is now staring you in the face. When people were cautioning you, men di election echi, they said it was doable. Now, tell me, Moro, which streams of employment have we had to complement the ones they came to meet to run the 3-shift system after 2 budgets? We are now going to set up an authority. And with the bill that was introduced, I mean, we flagged it a lot of times. In fact, when I first read the bill, I thought whoever sent it to me made a mistake, and it wasn't the 24-hour economy bill. So I called my brother Awal Mohammed, and I asked him to send me a copy. Awal Mohammed sent me the copy, and I compared it with the same document. Then I called Fad, and Fad sent me similar document. I checked word for word, same document. And I actually called an NDC friend to give me the bill because I thought it was the creation of certain people contrary to what the government had promised. The NDC friend sent me the bill. Lo and behold, it was the same thing. There is no mentioning of any institution that is going to operate a 3-shift system in the bill Parliament approved for the 24-hour economy. If you are an NDC youth who was promised a shift system, and you read the bill the government sent to Parliament to govern the operation of the so-called 24-hour economy, and there is no expression of any shift system with any private or public institution, you'll be worried. It is not a matter of gold board or gold board jewelry sponsoring a certain women empowerment program. If gold board or gold board jewelry is sponsoring a women empowerment program, but the youth of the NDC are employed to work a 3-shift system, they wouldn't complain. We promised the young ladies and women of this country a certain women's bank. And with the entire structure, we were told that the cleaners, security, tellers, district managers, regional managers, departmental heads, the board and CEO or managing director of the Women's Development Bank, every single individual is going to be a female. The NDC females bought into that ideology after 2 budgets, from Choko to Yao Krom and Kojo Krom in the Western region, to Doma Hinkro, to China Paga in the Upper East region. Where can we locate a single branch of the Women's Development Bank? Now the narrative has changed. What we were told during campaign was that you only need to be a woman. So at a point I was scared that if the government is going to introduce this and all that is required of you is to be a woman, walk into the bank, you would access money and capital for your own businesses. I was scared of gender, transgender issues because I thought women were going to be given preferential treatment and the lives of our women was going to be all luxurious and rosary according to the promise. Just walk into the bank, just be a woman and you access funds for capital for any business whatsoever you want to do. So I feared gender transitioning at that point. I ask again, from Choko to Yao Krom to Doma Hinkro to Paga, where can we locate a single branch of the Women's Development Bank? And that's not just all. It appears it ran through all the promises they gave us. Is Galamsey solved after 1 year? There was a promise of ending Galamsey in about a month. Is Galamsey solved? Yes, taxes have been removed. COVID tax is no more there, but we are having doomsort levy. Emission tax is no more there, but today we are paying exorbitant prices for electricity. So the NDC youth is not getting work to do. They go home, they can't pay for electricity. It's frustrating. I can understand their plight. The 24-hour economy is not 24 hours in. Yet you go home, you can't pay your electricity bill. Almost 29% increment in 1 year. Because he's saying your electricity is increased. In fact, recently there was a report that more than 7% compared to 2024, Ghanaians cannot access food to eat in the country. That's the situation. And when you ask, why can't we access food to eat? We tell you because dollar is down and inflation is down. What has been the life transformation of whatever the government is doing, reflecting in the lives of the Ghanaian youth? There's something called policy as intent and policy as practice. If you read policy, all that now has said is policy as intent. The practicality of those policies is the reality of the youth today. That yes, your dollar is down, but you have over 506,000.
The CD that's appreciated. The dollar hasn't moved.
Your CD is up.
Appreciated, yeah. CD is up, yeah.
But you have over 600,000 people, 500,000 people applying for jobs meant for only 5,000 people. Your CD has appreciated, but the policy as practice on the ground is that your electricity bill is worse off. The policy as intent is what you told us, 24-hour economy, which we believed and voted massively for. In fact, the monies the NDC used to erect billboards across the length and breadth of the country, announcing the 3-shift system. At the Achimota and Forest roundabouts, there was a giant billboard there. I used to see it almost every day. Advertising shift 133. The moment they want power, they pull down those billboards. I don't know if their rent period had expired, but they pulled down those billboards. The monies they spent on those billboards, I believe, could set up a number of their youth today. It's what we promised. The Ghanaian youth is not asking for anything new. The same issue with the cocoa farmer. Imagine you being an unemployed youth and your only means of survival is the little stipend you receive from your parents back home. Cocoa farmers. And today, a dangerous haircut. Do you know Punky Joe? Moro. You know Punky Joe? With our boy.
I'm a 70s born.
Thank you, Moro.
So I can relate.
The cocoa farmers have been given a Punky Joe with our boy. So if I'm a child of a cocoa farmer and I don't have work and my mother or father has been given a dangerous haircut, at the same time, battling electricity cost and water bill, at the same time, I'm part of the 7% increment of Ghanaians who can't access food. You can imagine my plight. That's the reality today.
Okay.
All the Ghanaian youth is asking for is to allow our banks to operate 24 hours as promised. I know a lot of Ghanaian youth who are interested in banking or want to work with the banks. That's the campaign you ran, the advert you sold to Ghanaians. And the reality of the situation today, once again, is that even those who already have employment are not being paid. The Ghana Education Service has to threaten their staff to prevent them from picketing and demonstrating. Over 14 months worked as a teacher with no salary. How do people survive? But we are not surprised. It's the same NDC that employed teachers for 3 years and only paid them 3 months' salary.
Okay. All right.
It was nothing more than political talk.
Right.
Just to win power, come to office and offer something completely contrary, a 360 U-turn or 180-degree clockwise or anti-clockwise rotation to whatever they promised.
Okay.
And it's a national security threat.
Okay.
Recently, we had a stampede at the airwork, all because the Ghanaian youth, as my sister said, is entrepreneurial and it's not lazy. But here we are, 500 and what? 6,000. So the excess 6,000, they don't even get spots because yes, the available space was what? 5,000. And last year we heard about 50,000 teachers were going to be employed. Nothing came. The education minister says that he's not the one that grants financial clearance. So clearly there's nothing he can do about it. The same way we were promised about 600 chip compounds to be completed last year, and as of now, not even a single one has been completed. It's about the optics. It's about things that we said to gain some few minutes popularity on social media. But the reality is completely different tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Now let me pose this question to you. I know that you have some responses that you intend to give to what Doc has said, but Gabriela Tete put something up on her Facebook wall, and it has generated some discussions amongst, especially the what I'll call social media, consumers. Now, this is what Gabriela said, and I'm sure that you've seen that already. Now, she says one of the ways in which parties can deal with the unemployment situation, she says, the next Congress should consider a new resolution for all aspiring flag bearers to provide us with a formula for the appointment. What percentage to party, percentage to members? So here she's talking party executives, percentage to members, percentage to friends and family and the general public, and also percentage for other political parties, so we can adjust much of our time, energy, and resources we give their dreams. By the way, don't come under this post and pontificate. We've already been tagged demons. Then she sends this message as a follow-up. This is personally. She sends it to me personally. She says that my post was not about the appointment criteria, neither have I gone chasing anyone for appointment. The fact is that for a long period of time, beyond this administration and party faithfuls who work for the party have the same complaints about how much they put in and what they see around. There are constituencies where the only appointment is the DCE and the government appointees at assembly, while others have that set and other appointees managing agencies and ministries. So the sharing criteria is not even equal. The spirit, so the spirit behind my post answers to two things. One, a transparent formula to let the people who work to bring the party to government know how allocation is done fairly. Number two, people who make those sacrifices know that people from other parties and those who sat on the fence are not prioritized by virtue of godfatherism and proximity to power and influence. And she says no flag bearer on his own can win, or on her own can win an election in this country without the strength and organization of the party. So my argument about criteria, the NDC as an organization has a database of all its executives and members from branch to national and their qualifications. A very rich database. But of course, a government can't also fill itself with 100% party faithfuls because of some specific needs that may exist, and hence back to the point I made on allocation in percentages. Now she says so that's, okay, all right. So that's what she sent me as a follow-up to that, that post that she made. What do you think about this proposal? But I know that you also have some other responses.
I'll come to this proposal, okay. But let me address a few things that, Ezekiel this morning. Ezekiel, are you in Lent? Because if you are in Lent, then some of the things you're checking out this morning, you shouldn't. And to put on record that the NPP's supposed repentance is ugly. That today, they stand with cocoa farmers and stand with Ghanaian youth. Their repentance can best be described as an ugly one. What are the issues? So this morning, Ezekiel sits here and says that we say they are insensitive. No, it is not even the ADC to say that the MPP is insensitive. Absolutely not. The good people of Ghana were with you in this country for 8 years. And you give them the harshest form of insensitivity. So it is not the ADC to come and tell the good people of Ghana. They are discerning. They were here in this country, Moro, when COVID actually plunged us. And your government made money from IMF, from World Bank. And we saw and we heard how your government used the money. What the insensitivity. It is not the NDC to tell you. Now, more again, my brother here says that reality has hit the Ghanaian. What is the reality? The reality of the Ghanaian is that, remember, the COVID tax, the e-levy, and what have you, that against every resistance, to the extent that when we were the minority in parliament, we staged a walkout. They told Ghanaians, to hell with you. In the midst of the hardship, in the midst of exchange rates, in the midst of, our debt to GDP ratio that has gone over the roof, we will still inflict you with taxes. If this is not insensitivity, you think the NDC has time to describe you as insensitive? The Ghanaian person, the Ghanaian listening to me today felt it. And today, for us as the NDC, we are not complicit. We are not saying that we've achieved everything. What we are saying is that in 1 year, we have actually turned around the grievous mess that your government left. So the best the NPP can do is that, and I said on another platform, whenever they are given the opportunity to speak to Ghanaians, if only they will listen to wisdom, and precede their submission with an apology to the Ghanaian people. They told us everything that was impossible in this country, yet they ran the mantra, it is possible. They told us that it was not possible. The best they can give us with exchange rate is 17 cedis to $1. They told us the best they can do is that our debt to GDP ratio, that measures the sustainability of our debt, could go over 100%. Today we are doing under 45. And you think that it is the NDC that would come and tell Ghanaians that you are insensitive. We sat in this country. Your government put their hands in the pockets of the aged. You couldn't service your loans. It has taken the NDC government to come and say, actually, clean the mess you created. And you think that you are not insensitive? Of course you are. And your repentance is ugly. Moral, Ezekiel, the NDC is not in a hurry, right, to haphazardly implement any of our policies like the MPP did. When they implemented NAPCO, we told them what was the exit policy. They didn't tell us till today. At a point, they couldn't even pay their NAPCO personnel. The same people you see on the street, they are NAPCO personnel. If you had an exit strategy for them, it would not be where we are. But when we said, they told us to shut up. They told us, oh, it was the best. That is insensitivity. Tomorrow, we were in this country. When they came up with free SHS, we said, it was a good policy. But can we take it one at a time? Can we look for resources? What are the funding options? They ended up feeding free SHS students with rotting rice. You think that you are an example we want to learn from? Absolutely not. The NDC wants to distinguish itself in everything good. And because the NPP is an example of everything bad, I'm sorry, but we are not taking lessons from you. And so when you come to lessons on the economy, we are not even, you can organize your lectures. Have your lectures ended? You can go on with lectures and tell the Ghanaian people that when you come back, you are still coming back to your scorecard, your track record, that you take the city back to 17 cities. Let Ghanaians know the track record that you left. Now, if you come with me to today is that Galamsey and what have you. If you go to point 312 of our manifesto, it says that we will wage a war against illegal mining and reclaim degraded land. Today, in Ashanti region alone, we've reclaimed over 80 acres of land. Under the Atena, what did they do? They even gave party faithfuls permission to mine in forest reserves. If that is not insensitivity, what will that be? We were in this country, Moro, and the NPP came to tell us, oh, that we have a nice baby for you. Enjoy free water. Enjoy free electricity. Some also have subsidized electricity, per your household consumption. At the end of the day, they gave us the freebies with their right hand and came to squeeze our necks to vomit the monies for them. They stashed the monies in their bedrooms. They used some for chichinga. They used some to dig holes. This morning, the best Ezekiel can do is to keep apologizing to the good people of Ghana, because the good people of Ghana have tasted water and they've tasted sugar, and they know that sugar is sweeter. They know that if you give the economy to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who has not held any lectures on the economy, who has not run organizing, lectures here and there, right? He will perform better. They know that if you have a vice president who is competent, it doesn't matter the number of lectures you hold. See, if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will strip you naked. See, it will strip you naked, right? And I like the way that you speaking station, naked. Excuse my language this morning. And so, Ezekiel can't come back and present the NPP to us like we've never experienced them. When we've experienced them, when we're telling them that you need to actually cut down on your expenditure so that you will get some to fund projects. I'm sure we may come to the Auditor General's report. But tomorrow, earlier in the submission, it says that, if there could be medical tourism. Have you come across the Auditor General's report on the debt that they left in Agenda 111 that we may have to service? But for the vigilance of our administration, so much finances will go under the bridge and will not be accounted for. Of course, they'll ask, so where is the money? But why won't they ask that? Because under the Atena, all they knew how to do was mismanage funds. And so they think they are an example. Absolutely not. For us as a government, the mandate that the good people have given to us, we are never complacent. President John Dramani Mahama has his eyes on the ball. President John Dramani Mahama will act human. That when people say that we are in pain, we are in anguish, there are no jobs, we say that I hear you and I understand you. Okay. At least we've not thrown jabs at people that go and do your own timetable. We've not thrown jabs at people that, to hell with whatever you think. We have accepted the realities of the people. I have sat at home and watched NPP communicators on this platform, that when you read the message of viewers that times are hard, they'll tell you, no, then the people, they are not Ghanaians. We have actually not denied any reality that any Ghanaian has shared with us. Okay. For us, Moro, we will take lessons from the Ghanaian who gave us the mandate. To go to the NPP to take lessons, I don't think we'll do that today. I don't think we'll do that tomorrow. What is the alternative? By now, they should be telling us that whilst they are in opposition, they are keeping their house together. And then maybe they meet us in battle again in 2028. What are the alternatives? It is not to say that we are not accepting criticisms. Tomorrow, if it is constructive, it is positively yielding. Why not? President Mahama listens. Her Excellency Jane Nano Pukwajiman listens. And will listen to the good people of Ghana.
Okay. Are you looking for a business in Ghana that has, I'll come to you, sorry. Are you looking for a business in Ghana that has global presence, totally reliable and in turn reliant on your satisfaction? MNC Group got you covered. I'm introducing MNC to you. Fantastic guys, fantastic organization. They got you covered, so just call MNC Group on any of these numbers, 056 103-2253. That's 056 103-2253 or 0265 0. So let me take the numbers again. 0265 505 337. So MNC Group are experts in food commodities trading, real estate development and logistics. With their headquarters in East Legon, MNC Group has offices in Dubai, they have it in Hong Kong, they have it in Guangzhou, and China, Johannesburg in South Africa, and also Milan in Italy. So to get the best deals, let me just give you the numbers again. 0265, please take a pen and paper and do this. 0265 505 337 or 0561 032253. If you are out of Ghana, prefix the numbers with +233. Please call them now, and thank me later. Call them now. MNC Group, totally reliant. Also, don't forget that Pepsodent keeps reminding you that do the two for them. Brush your teeth in the morning with Pepsodent. Brush your teeth at night before you retire to bed, before you sleep. Okay, so do that. I do that. I use Pepsodent in the morning. It's fantastic. I love it. Do same. And let me know what the feedback is. But let me also say that there's a big event that's coming off. It's coming off tomorrow, and it's the Ghana Culture Forum. It's the Ghana Culture Forum. It's under the auspices of the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts. The Ghana Culture Forum and the Ghana Tourism Authority present Ghana Culture Week 26. Now the theme is Resetting Ghana's Tourism, Culture and Creative Ecosystem. Resetting Ghana's Tourism, Culture and Creative Ecosystem. And it's Friday 13th March. So it's Friday and Saturday 13th and 14th of March 2026. It's coming off at the National Theatre in Accra. And there's a special attraction with the Emporium and Courtyard of Expressions, inter-schools debate, etc. And you see, the special guest will be there. So the president himself, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and then there's also Mrs. Honorable Abla Jifa Gomashi, MP, and also Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts. You also see Nana Utuo Owahine Echampo, who's the chairman of the Ghana Culture Forum. There's Mami Ifua Hujeto. She's Chief Executive of the Ghana Tourism Authority. And then also the speaker is Professor Educhum Intim Boachi, who is a tourism and hospitality management lecturer, University of Cape Coast. All right. So stay with us. You're still watching Good Morning on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. Let me also say that in Ghana's eastern region, a disturbing social crisis continues to unfold. Teenage pregnancy is robbing hundreds of girls of their childhood, education, and future. In the riverside town of Atimpoku, the situation is especially dire. Some of these girls become mothers as early as 14, abandoned by the very men who promised them love. Shadrach Odame Jare is bringing us a heartbreaking yet urgent look at silent tears, the teenage mothers of Atimpoku. So it's not a very long feature or documentary. Let's just watch this briefly, and then we'll come back and wrap it all up with our conversation. Stay with us.
Mutaka, Meganama pon bobolo, konye ganam, service I don't want again. I don't want again. No, they do again. Recruitment back I started 50 last year up to this year. Today this, tomorrow that. Some will receive their message, some will not receive theirs. You know that our network system in Ghana is not okay, but you are doing online stuff. Eh? Tell me why you will be shifting the date. First one will be shifting date. No, we understand you. Maybe dates are first date. No, yeah, now your result ain't to me in bad. You people cannot your result no ain't to me in bad. Sana sad date no, and you came to extend it. That is fine. We understand you perfectly. And I would extend so what the deadline and I to name category A B. They are still on pending. Well, some have received theirs. So these people, are you not thinking about their emotions or what? You're not even addressing the public on it. Huh? Well, that for me, dear, I don't want again. Missy Kano, Mami calculating their mass spending was service. Come on, serving my own country too. Serving my motherland too. I have to go through stress. So imagine when the stress you have to go through before your salary will come. But you pay quest now, give me my money, let me find my somewhere and stay. Eh? Why are we behaving like this in this country? Why are you frustrating the youth like that? Why? Say you want to better. Some have done that. And look at it. Honorable Medakuku now, I don't want to do again. Can you please? I don't want to. In fact, whether I'm qualified or disqualified, I don't give a damn anymore. Just give me my money. Just give my.
In 2025, when it attempts to streamline things, and we all know as citizens that it is in our interest that things are streamlined and opportunities are such that everyone will have an equal level playing field to access those opportunities. But we are witnesses to the corruption of the process in our time. And we are not even demonstrating against it. We are not even speaking up against it. In fact, we are looking for opportunities ourselves. So, this is about our national security. And it is being dashed to party secretaries' sons, organizers' daughters, chairman's sons. Well, maybe the next NDC government will have to create a balance before it begins to correct. Yeah. Because if you have flooded the police and the fire service with your sons and daughters, who, by the way, are also citizens and are entitled to the opportunity, and so it will be unfair to sack them. You can't even sack them. The law doesn't permit you to. But perhaps it will be fair for the NDC to also flood.
All right, you're watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. So a little bit of a, what do you call it, some small miscommunication, because anyway, let me actually earlier told you that we're going to play a documentary. It turns out that the documentary is not today, it's actually tomorrow. Not on Good Morning Ghana, on some other programs that we have scheduled to play those documentaries. I sincerely apologize for that. But it still remains the fact that there's a big documentary which has been put together by Shadrach, and it would air on Metro TV. It's about, this is what it says. It said in Ghana's eastern region, there's a disturbing social crisis which continues to unfold. It's teenage pregnancy and is robbing hundreds of girls of their childhood education and future. Now, in the river town of Atimpogo, the situation is especially dire. Some of these girls become mothers as early as 14, abandoned by the very men who promised them love. Shadrach Odami has put up or has produced a fantastic documentary. It would air on Metro TV. So keep watching Metro TV, and I can assure you that you would enjoy this documentary. But let me read just a few messages, and I can get Doc to wrap up and to give me his concluding remarks. Now, good morning. talking, this one is from Kojo Chumbuafo, and the NDC is Kojo Chumbuafo. Izamoro, good morning. Talking of Tatashe solutions, please, can you ask Dr. Obeng Ejekum to remind us where we can find a single working example of one village, one dam, a single working example of one district, one factory, one working example of a constituency that was bequeathed $1 million a year for the 8 years that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was in power. An example of anyone whose pensions and savings have been restored because I'm waiting for mine. That's Tatashe and Kasa. That's Kojo Chumbuafo. Now, McLean says that I vividly remember when President John Dramani Mahama at his swearing-in ceremony focused on lamentation and playing the blame game rather than taking responsibility for the current state of affairs. During his 2025 SONA, as mandated by the Constitution, he failed to address issues effectively and instead resorted to reckless excuses. In an economic dialogue, President Mahama continued to shift the focus towards the previous government, despite claiming to understand the existing problems in Ghana and their potential solutions. The good people of Ghana are not interested in hearing repetitive promises and excuses. We're looking for real action and tangible solutions to address the economic challenges that have been persistent for a long time. The primary concern is that the citizens of Ghana are expecting the government to prioritize fixing the economy, which they claim has been criminally mishandled. The nation cannot afford to continue the path of blame shifting and empty rhetoric. That's McLean from Seshi. Now, this one here, Triddles, says that good morning, Moro, and to your cherished viewers. Let no minister, deputy minister, party functionary, or government appointee come and destroy the party we all helped to build since 1996. I seriously think that authorities must find a solution to this security recruitment system, else the NDC party will be paid back in future. That's from Triddles. Okay. Vincent Mate, I've seen your message. Thank you very much for the compliment. Now, this one here from Mustafa Abubakar. He's a deputy MD at TOR. He sends me a very long article. I'll try to see if I can read it. Has Mahama abandoned or helped his party? Let's check the list of some party appointees. When Mahama assumed office in January 2025, what he did, he first appointed some national executives as ministers, CEOs, and boards. Our national chairman, Mr. Sidon Keta, is board chairman for Ghana Port and Harbors. General Secretary, Mr. Fifi Afis Naomi Kwete, is MD of Consolidated Bank of Ghana. National Youth Organizer Pablo is a Minister for Youth. National Women's Organizer Dr. Hanabisu is CEO of Minerals Development Fund. National Communications Officer Sami Jemfi is CEO of Gold Board. Deputy Commerce Officer Malik Basentale is CEO of YEA. Deputy Youth Organizer Ruth Sedo is National Service Boss. Deputy Youth Organizer Osman Narega is National Youth Authority Boss. Edudi Tamaklu is Director of Legal and now the CEO of MPA. His deputy Baba Jamal until recently was ambassador to Nigeria. Vice Chairman Professor Labi is board chair for Ghana Commercial Bank. Mustafa Gbande, a deputy general secretary, is the deputy director of operations at the presidency. Kobe Ballon is a deputy national organizer. He's CEO of Road Fund. Mr. Alex Sebwefia, Director of International Affairs, is now the Chief of Staff, VIP's office. Madame Obo Biadako, Deputy Director of Communications, is now CEO of Ghana Medical Trust Fund. Mami Efua is a Deputy International Relations Officer, CEO of Ghana Tourism Authority. Abigail Elom, a Deputy National Women's Organizer, CEO of Maslock. Elikem Kotoko, who is a Deputy National Organizer, Deputy CEO of Forestry Commission. Tanko Rashid, who is Deputy Elections IT Director, CEO of GEFEC. Yaira Koku, who is also a Deputy Elections IT Director, Executive Secretary of the NIA. Ibrahim Aliba, Director of Conflict Resolution, is now CEO of National Road Safety Authority. Regional Chairmen or their secretaries are regional ministers, CEOs, board chairs. Party stalwarts like Mr. Fuswamp is board chair of Cocoa Board. Alhaji Hudi Aya is board chair of National Petroleum Authority. Most MPs are on boards. All regional organizers are presidential staffers. Most regional executives are serving as CEOs like Abbas Nuruddin, Erika J, and others on board. Some constituency executives are serving in various positions under YEA, NADMO, school feeding, and others on board. Constituency nominated their own MMDCs for appointment. If I may ask, what percentage will Gabriel Tete give President Mahama after these appointments? It's important for Anita and Gabriela to find out from all the appointed party executives how many jobs they have created for our base. Will both of them be speaking this way if Mahama had appointed them? As party members, will we be screaming when non-NDC members like Martin Kpebu, Kevin Taylor, or Listowell are appointed? Truth is that about 97% of Mahama's appointments are party members. In my opinion, that is unprecedented. And that question is, can all the 6 million NDC voters be satisfied in 1 year? Not possible. Let's not allow some selfish individuals in our party and NPP to sow seeds of confusion. A servant in government is always better than general secretary in opposition. And he quotes Kufuor. I know expectations are very high from our people, hence their outbursts, but I plead we give our government more time. Mahama means well for our party. I thank you. That's from Mustafa Abubakar, Deputy MD of Temoyo Refinery. Carlos, and I'll end with this. Carlos from Odudujo. So I agree with the NPP representative when he says that reality has hit the NDC. However, the reason is that the NDC is not acting the way many of our supporters expected. When it comes to employment, the NDC and its top executives know very well how much the NPP fill the system with their supporters and sympathizers. From directorship positions down to cleaners, almost every sector of the country. In some places, even at national security gates, that should have been handled by one person. You may find nearly 20 NPP supporters standing there simply because of unemployment. This situation needs to be exposed so that Ghanaians can understand the kind of governance we're dealing with. People must know the realities of what was left behind. If the NDC fails to act and address these issues firmly, then reality will indeed hit them. That is the current predicament between the NPP and the NDC. Therefore, the NPP representatives should not pretend or lecture others about governance when we all know how the country was managed under their watch. Carlos from Odudujo. And then there's finally, I'm doing this in just 30 seconds so I can give it the 5 minutes to wrap up. Tomorrow we have traded our color TV for black and white. Now cannot be bothered. So this is hardly surprising. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Yet the citizens who are going through hell know it and feel it every day. This uncaring government has increased the salaries of the executive class, including ministers and presidential staffers, by over 300%, while ordinary citizens who cannot afford these 3 square meals a day are suffocating under massive hikes in water and electricity tariff. This is not the reset they promised. Samuel Brian Boabing sends this message. So, Doc, please do this for me less than 5 minutes.
I understand my sister.
Okay.
I understand my sister. And my sister went on this tangent, and it's very common with the NDC. I mean, they still find themselves in the campaign mode.
Okay.
Otherwise, they wouldn't keep up repeating the same rhetorics they sold to Ghanaians. They are still talking about the National Cathedral site after making a lot of allegations and all that against persons who were directly supervising the projects. You came into office, you've conducted 2 forensic audits into the project, and nothing was found. And we are still repeating the same rhetorics. The Ghanaian is tired of the same rhetorics. If it's about certain ills of a certain government in the past, I can go on and on and on during President Mohammed's first term. Today, my sister is here creating the impression that there is a new president with an angelic touch to rule the country. If it's about previous administrations and what had occasioned a party in power, I won't go any further. I will still come back to my own profession. We had doctors, for the first time in our history, worked for 9 months without salary under President Mahama. Now, my seniors had to abandon patients to their fate to picket at the ministries because of unpaid salaries. We are talking about what governments have done in the past. We were queuing for fuel at a point under President Mahama. Have you forgotten? Were we not told to go and cut grass and sell by the roadside by the NDC under President Mahama 1? Were we not queuing for fuel? Were we not told to adjust our seatbelt and be prepared to pay more for electricity if we want electricity? Or under President Mahama 1? Were we not told and heard of the wrecking effects of doing so under President Mahama 1? Are we going back to talk of what governments have done in the past? What is more insensitive than telling the unemployed graduate youth, the first time of such group in our country, to go and cut grass and sell by the roadside? You see, my flag bearer has led the party to apologize to Ghanaians, and I will be very humble, because if it affected me, I don't think I'll be happy. If anyone suffered from the domestic debt exchange program, I would never sit here and justify it. In fact, I will join my flag bearer and well-meaning others to say sorry to Ghanaians. Will the NDC be humble enough to say sorry to the youth of the country for failing on the 24-hour economic promise? Okay. Will the NDC be humble enough to say sorry to the youth of their party for failing on the Women's Development Bank promise? Will the NDC be humble enough to apologize to Ghanaians that we promised you 1 week to end Galamsey, yet Galamsey is worse? And if we are talking about parties that enable Galamsey, like my sister sought to do,
allow today
we have...
Which manifesto promise said 1 week? Which one? Don't churn out facts. I mean, ask whether you're really going through length.
I had all the patience for you.
Please.
I had all the patience for you.
The fact that you had patience for me doesn't mean
I'm coming to answer him. I'm coming to answer you.
So point to the evidence. And now, is it kind of saying that we had audit report that has exonerated his administration?
It's not my administration. It's not my administration.
We're talking about national
the KPMG report. Didn't you employ KPMG to audit
and says that the administration is exonerated?
Relax. I kept quiet.
I kept quiet.
Moro, please.
We will keep quiet. Ezekiel, we will keep quiet. Let me make a point. We will keep quiet. Wait, we will keep quiet if what Ezekiel is saying is the truth. But if so the thing is that we won't allow him to churn out untruth.
I'll ask him the question.
I'm waiting for the show is wrapping up.
Now more Twishi.
So what time is it?
I'm humble enough to apologize for all the ills that characterize my administration. I'm asking now in the NDC, will you be humble enough to apologize to your party youth for promising them 24-hour economy at the banking sector when you know no bank is going to operate for 24 hours?
Right.
Would you be humble enough to apologize to your own party folks that we promised you Women's Development Bank, but we have nothing to show after 2 years of reading 2 budgets? Would you have the humility to apologize to the youth? You promised us, Moro, to conclude, that you were going to reduce electricity tariffs. That was a promise. Vehemently and clearly said. Would you have the humility, as I've demonstrated here today?
They've taken you off. They've taken you off.
To Ghanaians, we promised to reduce electricity prices. But today we know you can't. It is not the MPP trying to incite anyone.
You're off, actually.
The MPP is not doing anything.
So let me go to Kwesi Kwetia now. Let me go to Kwesi Kwetia.
NDC.
All right.
Your own party people against you.
Kwesi Kwetia, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm right here. It's Thursday.
What should we be expecting today?
Well, we have Wesley Grammar and then at this school. Your school is coming. They're in the house today.
Hello.
All right, good morning to you, Na and Ezekiel. Good morning to you.
Yes.
It's the school's homecoming show. That's what is coming on. And I quickly want to find out from you, what school did you go to?
St. Peter's.
St. Peter's, all right. Yes. I'm sure that in the coming days you're going to be seeing them here. And then, how about you?
Maybe I'll start with our slogan. They say Ablade. We say Wone. Nongwa secondary.
Ocho, Gamma Nongwa secondary. You know. Yes. All right, thank you very much. I mean, it's the school's homecoming show right here every Thursday, 9:30 in the morning to 10:30. And we have Wesley Grammar and then also at Disco joining us this morning. We also have Probo Girls. They're in the house. So in between the show, we'll see how best, we can incorporate them into the show this morning. Right. It's going to be super interesting. And then there's something that's coming up this weekend. We're also going to be talking about that. So stay tuned with us. This is the School's Homecoming Show right here on Metro TV.
Okay.
And from there, they are coming home tonight. Angels Hill is calling. ATMs